Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. I'm an astrologer, tarot card reader, and life coach, and this is my channel, Listen to the Stars, dedicated to all of those things, plus spiritual topics in general. If you are interested in booking a reading using astrology, the cards of truth, and the tarot, you can do so at my website, NicoleBrenny.com. For a combination of all those things, you can get the diamond reading, and then I offer other options that are just the tarot, just the cards, or life coaching. And life coaching is really fun if you want to kind of have a more long-term approach to solving an issue or getting over something. And I actually do use the tarot cards, the cards of truth, and astrology during your coaching or secretly behind the scenes for your coaching. So those are definitely options if you are interested in more of a long-term relationship. So it's going to be a really fun day today. I've just been working all morning. I didn't get to exercise, so I look a little bit like tired because I didn't get to surf today because my board is broken. I should actually show you guys my broken board. Very, very sad. I have to go buy a new one. But because my mind isn't so fresh, it took me a while to kind of think of what I wanted to talk about today. And so I decided to talk about something that I have been already talking about recently that I could share with you that I thought was super interesting. And that is two things, actually. So first off, the amazing power of the cards of truth, because I am teaching a cards of truth course. So I kind of wanted to open you guys up a little bit more to the cards of truth, since a lot of you are here mostly for astrology. And I totally understand that because astrology is amazing. So I really wanted to share like just how incredible and powerful these are, because I don't think people really know. And then I wanted to answer a question that I get asked a lot, actually, and I've been asked it a few times recently, which is related to, if you can see your future using something like the cards of truth, does that make it harder for you to live a normal life? Does that make it harder for you to stay focused and in the present moment and to be able to enjoy the things that you have? So I kind of want to approach both of those things today, talk about how amazingly predictive the cards of truth can be, both casting in the moment as well as using the software, but also because they're predictive and you use tools like this and you use astrology and you use tarot, all of you guys are using these things. How can you know the future and live a normal life? And is life still meaningful if we can predict the future? And if we have no willpower, does that mean that our life is pointless? So these are some big existential questions, but I actually have thought about these for a very, very long time because I've been doing this stuff for so long. So I just wanted to share my opinion, and this is just my opinion. I'm not saying like I know everything in the entire world. I feel like the younger you are, the more that you feel like you know everything in the entire world, and the older you are, the more you realize you don't. So just listen to what I have to say if you're interested, and then maybe that will help you to kind of formulate a little bit for yourself, your own opinions, your own ideas about these things. And this will help you to figure out how you want to use these tools, whether as someone that is helping other people using these tools, or someone that likes to use these tools to live your best life. Okay, so that is what I wanted to say. And I'm going to see who's all here in the chat today. And we have Derivad, Chelsea, Green Penguin, Amanda, hello, and Yola, and Fam Bam. And Fam Bam loved the Saturn at Makarka video. I'm so glad. I got a lot of great feedback about that video because I think it's really fun for people. People kept asking me about the video I posted yesterday, like that they didn't realize that your at Makarka could influence your clothing choices so much. And before we get started with this video, just to go back to that video, one of my long-term coaching clients that I've had for years watched that video, and she said that she bets that her husband has Saturn at Makarka. So I had his chart, I looked it up, and he definitely is 100% Saturn at Makarka. So this is something I noticed when I started making the makeover videos is, there are three things that really determine how you're going to look. That's, or, what you're going to wear and all of that. And from my research, that is your sun, where your sun is placed, your ascendant lord, so the planet that rules your first house, and your Atmakaraka. And the Atmakaraka can only be looked at if you look at the planet in the highest number of degrees in your birth chart, not including the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And you don't include the north and south node of the moon, Rahu, and Ketu either. So you can definitely tell a lot about a person based off of what they wear. And my ascendant lord is Mars, so it's kind of funny. I'm wearing Martian shirt today on Tuesday. of all days of the week, Tuesday is a Mars day. So I wanted to mention that it can really help you to read people if you know a little bit about the planets. And then the other thing I wanted to mention about Saturn is I feel like Saturn also rules over timeless, classic pieces and more minimal and simple ways of dressing. I really should have mentioned that in the last video because that's probably the most like positive, optimistic, beautiful way of describing Saturn's style, because I've always considered myself very classic and very simple with the way that I dress, but I totally didn't say that in the last video. So timeless pieces that can last forever, because Saturn, you know, stands the test of time. So think about that too. And probably you'll notice if you are Saturn on Makarka that you really go for those timeless, classic, never going to go out of style pieces. All right, so let's get into this. And Green Penguin and I are both wearing red shirts today. I'm so glad. It was like the only shirt I had clean. Okay, so how am I going to do this? Let's see. Well, first off, okay, so I came up with this question because when I was in Costa Rica traveling around the last week and a half, my boyfriend's parents were asking me tons of questions in Spanish. And when I'm speaking a foreign language, for whatever reason, since I have less vocabulary, I don't get so caught up in like so many random thoughts. I get really to the specific answer to the questions I'm being asked. And I was able to answer a question really, really perfectly. And they were asking me first off about the work that I do. And I was telling them that I work with the cards and that the cards can predict the future, and that I was actually able to, before that trip, predict that the trip was going to be kind of a mess and that it was going to be really stressful, and that illness could have played a role in the trip that we were all taking together, because I had a 7 of Spades card popping up and kind of holding down the fort for all the other cards in my spread that week. The 7 of Spades, as some of you all might know, is the card of illness. And when I talk about in my weekly spread, I mean in the software, you can look at your year spread, your month card, your week spread, your day spread, all that kind of stuff. So I was looking at the week where we were traveling and I thought, this could be kind of bad. So I was explaining that to them and they said, that's so interesting. And they said, well, what can you do when you know, when you can predict something and when you can see something, what do you do with that knowledge? And I told them that it's not like because I saw it was going to be a bad trip that I was going to just go and do something else and cancel the trip, because that energy is going to happen anyways. It doesn't matter if I'm traveling. It doesn't matter if I'm surfing. That energy, that 7 of Spades, is going to happen regardless of that choice that I make. And they were like, well, can you try to prevent it? Can you try to do something? And I told them, actually, no, there's no way that I can prevent that from happening, because there's been so many times, and you guys, I can't even tell you, so many times that I will see in my birth card spread and my boyfriend's, or not birth card, but my boyfriend and I's progress spreads, that we're going to get in a huge fight. And I'll be able to see literally down to the 2.5 hour time window of when we're going to get in a fight. And I told them this. I said, sometimes I know when me and your son are going to get in a fight. And I told them, and I will try everything. In the past, I will try everything. I will agree with everything he says. I will look my most beautiful. I will be my most polite. I will, you know, make sure I take care of all the different chores that we share, like stupid things that we would normally fight about. I will do everything perfectly to a T. And I will make sure that I, you know, don't say something stupid. And I mean, it's not like our relationship is that crazy where anything like that would set either of us off, but just for the fact of the fighting thing, like just trying to be perfect, trying to prevent this fight from happening. And still, regardless of how hard I try, if I pay for dinner, if I buy him a gift, if I do anything, we get in a massive fight. And that's because we were destined to have an argument at that time. And there's literally nothing that I can do about it. So what's the point? What's the point of living your life or having this existence if really nothing is in your control? And that's the really scary part. And it's something that I thought about it a lot, because I see these things. Like another example is, I'm trying to think of, okay, another example is like last year when I had a 7 of Hearts running. Yeah, it was last year. And I tried to prevent that from happening. I tried to prevent any distance in my relationship that I was in. I was trying to hold that relationship really close and make sure that nothing bad happened, because the 7 of Hearts is this card of separation, of loss, of long distance relationship. What ended up happening with my ex-boyfriend is that he accepted a job in another state and had to move away. So it's like, no matter how hard you try, and I've seen this again and again, you can't prevent the thing that's going to happen to you if it's meant to happen to you. And I feel like it's scary to say that because people want to think like they can prevent things. And also I should note that it's really hard to predict with this specific accuracy for clients day in and day out. But when you know your own chart and you know all the different things that go into piecing together your chart really well, it's a lot easier. Like I know astrologers that have predicted the color of their spouse's hair, things like that. If you hire an astrologer to do that, it's going to take them 5 days or something, like not 5 days, but it takes a long time to predict things to like the minute, to the complete little detail, at least for me, to do stuff like that. But when you know things so specifically like that, and you know when they're going to happen, there's not really like as much power in knowing what's going to happen as there is power in knowing that there are going to be ups and downs in life. And sometimes when you know in advance when there's going to be a low moment in your life, you can go through that moment with a little bit more clarity and a little bit more objectivity. Like you're not so emotionally attached because you had some kind of forewarning that something was going to happen. You can not really blame yourself for the situation in the same way that you would, but instead look for the things that are happening in the situation that you can take responsibility for, that you can learn and grow from. And in that moment, instead of being caught up in your emotions, you can really take that moment and try to learn the lesson of that moment as quickly as possible, as painlessly as possible, so that you can move through it and really move through it rather than trying to avoid it or getting trapped in the emotions of it. So I've really, for a time after I moved to Costa Rica, and hopefully it's not too loud because some kind of a construction machine just started and it's loud here. So I hope you guys can't hear it, just as a little note. But when I first moved to Costa Rica, I received a prediction about my life from one of my astrologers that's a friend of mine that really hurt me. Like, not like, I was destroyed, but it really impacted me in a negative way. And part of the reason why was because I didn't really ask for the prediction or want the prediction, but I was just in an opportunity where I could have a prediction made for me. And I said, okay, sure, make a prediction for me. But I really, really didn't want the prediction deep down. And so when I got it, it really like emotionally messed me up, I guess I should say. And so for a long time, I didn't want to do any kind of predictive work. I was still doing it, but like there was a part of me that just felt like at odds with it. Until recently, when I realized that, all the good and the bad things that happen in our lives, we shouldn't even think of them as good or bad. We should just think of them as moments of ease and moments of stress. And the good thing about stress is if you think about it in like the simplest terms possible, like in terms of your physical body, when your physical body experiences stress, like when you're working out, it just makes you stronger. Your muscles break, the little tiny fibers in your muscles break, and they repair themselves and you just get stronger. We need stress. We need things not to work out for us. We need bad moments in our lives to happen in order for life to really be lived to its fullest. We need the relationship that was kind of terrible to not work out in order for us to learn something about ourselves that allows us to be in a healthier relationship. We need that job opportunity that we've been waiting for our entire lives to fall through, so that we can create our own job opportunity that maybe makes us a millionaire or maybe makes us able to change the world for the better in some way that we could have never envisioned. And when you change your perspective about life itself, it really helps you to understand that even if you can't change the inevitable, you can change the way that you deal with the inevitable. And you can't necessarily change how you feel about what's happening to you, but you can change how you think about what's happening to you. And so if you get a prediction, or if you know what's going to happen in advance, which I can definitely predict things for myself very accurately now after almost 2 decades of studying this stuff. And I have a lot of great luck predicting things for my clients too. It's not always going to happen because it's not always meant for me to be able to predict things for people, because that's just the way that it works. I've learned as well. But because I have this ability, I got a little lost in my thoughts there for a second. But because I have this ability, I've really learned that the most important thing is not necessarily being able to predict, but if I am able to predict, to use that knowledge, not to change things or try to change things, but to work on myself, to improve myself, and to see the lesson that I'm meant to be learning in that moment. And that to me means that life is still meaningful. And that to me shows an opportunity to really be present and to really be living in the moment and to really be trying to receive fully of life, whether it's the great things about life or the terrible things about life, to really accept all of it. And honestly, I'm not great at that. I don't think any of us are really great at that. But life is always giving us opportunities to improve. And I think every single year I get better at it. Every single situation I'm in, I try to get better at it. Sometimes I deal with really difficult situations in a really beautiful way. And I think this last week when I was thrown a lot of stressful things, there were moments where I dealt with it in a worse way than ever. And that's not to say that I am not evolving and growing. It's just that sometimes we have to recognize that we're human. And even if we aren't at our best all the times, it doesn't mean that we suck. It just means that there's more growth there and that maybe we need to be more patient with ourselves. So I think being able to predict the future maybe isn't the most important part about astrology, you know, and also, or the cards. And also at the end of the day, it's made me realize how little we actually need astrology in the cards and how much more we just need to learn how to live in the moment and really understand ourselves. And the really beautiful thing about the cards of truth more than any other system, but I do like astrology in addition to the cards of truth, is that the cards of truth specifically really show you where you fit into all of life. So the cards of truth are male and female, right? The two polarities, male and female. Then they are these four elements, okay? We have hearts, we have spades, we have diamonds, and we have clubs. So they're earth, air, fire, and water. Just with that, just with the two polarities and the four elements, you have all of life. So you are one of these cards in all of life. And your card has different combinations and different iterations that no one else in the world or very few people in the world are going to share with you. So maybe you have a specific special twin. But even if you did have a specific special twin, they wouldn't be born in the exact same place as you, as otherwise you would know them. And even if you have a twin on a very micro level, they're going to be different from you. So you are very, very unique and you have your own specific signature and you fit in to all of life as one card with inside this card, which we can call quadrations, what's contained within this card, which is called a quadration, you have this specific signature and you have this specific little tiny piece of life that you are that no one else is. And when we combine all these different cards and all these different iterations together, we get the entire world. That's that really Piscean thing where all of us together are one and we're greater than just the little piece that we are. So the cards of truth as a self-knowledge tool, for me, they have helped tremendously for me to understand what little piece of the greater puzzle I am. So just to use a really obvious example, there's so many women out there that want to be Kim Kardashian to the point where a lot of women go through plastic surgery to look like Kim Kardashian. I saw this photo and I wish I was editing this video so I could add it in, but there's this photo of like 9 different women and the caption underneath says, which one is Kim Kardashian? And you literally cannot tell which one is Kim Kardashian, but they're all different women that just dyed their hair and got their plastic surgery to look like her. Okay, so there's a lot of people that are trying to be someone else. But in terms of the way that nature works and the way that life works, it's really important for you to be the specific person that you are. So if I went off and I tried to dye my hair black and get breast implants and butt implants and lip injections or whatever to be Kim Kardashian, and I started to shop all the time and do things like that, it wouldn't work for one reason and one reason only. It wouldn't work in terms of fitting into all of life. Maybe it would make me more rich, probably it would make me more famous, it would probably get more billionaire guys wanting to marry me, who knows. But it wouldn't work because that is not my nature. It is not my nature to want to change my physical body in a way that doesn't feel like me. It is not my nature to go shopping all the time. It is not my nature to, I don't know, want to be in the public light talking about fashion, right? So it wouldn't work for me because it is not my nature. My nature is something different. My nature resonates on the signature of the 8 of diamonds, but within that 8 of diamonds, there's a totally different thing going on. Another 8 of diamonds person that some of you might be familiar with is Astrology. She's another astrologer that has an astrology channel, and her and I are both 8 of diamonds, but because of the quadrations, which are kind of like that hidden intricate aspect of the card itself, we're very different people. We live in different parts of the world. She is an astrologer as well as I am, but I do the cards of truth and she doesn't. And I approach astrology in a very different way, even though we share the same teacher. So it's really interesting to know where you fit into all of nature. So with that predictive thought in mind, it's really not about whether or not you know the future and you can change it, because I really do think that sometimes you can't. Maybe you can sometimes, but sometimes you can't. You can maybe change the way that that is actually experienced rather than maybe a breakup. It's more of like a separation. But I think at a microscopic level, you'd still be able to predict that in a chart if you were really, really good or just the right timing. And of course, astrologers predict this stuff all the time. I predict this stuff all the time with cards, astrology, and the cards of truth. But what's more important is in this stage of life where we can predict things is knowing where you fit into all of life, knowing where you fit into nature, knowing where you fit into the laws of nature, knowing how that you can use the laws of nature to better your life, knowing how you can use all the other cards at your disposal, especially the 13 cards that make up your birth card spread, to enrich your life and to use your strengths and your weaknesses, because they're both really, really important. So being able to predict the future and know that you can't change anything has not made my life feel meaningless. It's actually really made me feel more like it's important that I discover more about who I am and work on myself and really allow my own potential to unfold as much as I can, so that I can really be me truly in my nature through all those experiences, whether it's something amazing like, you know, being able to connect with someone that I feel is really important or special, or maybe an amazing moment like traveling to a really interesting place in the world, or a really terrible moment like getting in a fight with one of my friends or losing someone special to me. And just to be able to be myself and to continue on my path of evolution through each of those different things, whether or not I know about them in advance or not, and to be really present to all of that, I think is the point. And I think is the really special aspect that can be taught to you through using the cards of truth. So I hope that that answers those questions. I tried to explain all this in Spanish, so I actually do want to do a Spanish video soon. And I'm not really good at Spanish, so I think it'll be one of those things where it's live and then I delete it afterwards. But if you speak Spanish and you're interested in me doing a Spanish speaking video, let me know, because I think sometimes I describe things a little bit better and more simply in Spanish than English. And you might like get another look at some of my opinions if it's in a different language. So let me see if you guys have any questions. And I think that's all I have to say about that. But just to get back to like the specific predictions that I've been able to make, yes, I've been able to predict exactly like when I'm in a fight with someone. I've been able to predict exactly when I first start dating someone, when I'm going to see them next to the minute. I've been able to predict when I'm going to break my surfboard, the exact time window within a couple of hours. I've been able to predict when I'm going to get, let me think, like when someone's specifically going to contact me or email me, things like that. So you can do all of those things and more with the cards at a certain level. Okay, there's so many comments. And also about the Atmakarika closet videos, I will be doing all the planets as soon as I can find people that have those planets. If you're an astrologer watching my videos and you are any of the Atmakarikas besides Saturn, I would rather interview an astrologer, just because of the fact that you're going to know more about your planet and it will add more information to the video. So just comment below, or you can also email me hi@nicolebrenny.com and I will get you onto my channel. I will try to interview all the planets and their closets. That'll be so fun. Jan is at work. Hello. Stephen is a Jupiter at Makarka. That actually really makes sense for you, Stephen. And Juki says, someone once told me that all the unpleasant things are like a savings account for pleasant experiences. I hope it's right. Yeah, sometimes when I'm going through something hard, you know, Ernst Wilhelm, who is my teacher and my friend, he'll say like, who cares? You're burning karma. You're burning karma. Doesn't matter. Just move on. I really like that. It really helps me. Macabre Menace, am I even pronouncing that right? Said, will you pull a card for me? Okay, I'm only gonna pull a card for this one person, but I will pull a card for you. You have the 7 of Spades. Oh no, you have the 7 of Spades. Honestly, I think that that is just for you a card of delays. So whatever you're wishing for is gonna be delayed. Okay, I guess that's what happens when someone someone asks me to read for them live. But don't worry, it didn't feel that bad. It just felt like delays, something you have to wait for. There's a question here too from Eniola that says, do you know any other experienced astrologers, card readers who have tried to change the outcome of a prediction for themselves and shared the outcome with you? I don't know specifically, but any astrologers that are watching, like even, you know, any teachers that might be watching, please write down below if that has happened to you. I feel like I have heard of stories, but I can't remember anything specifically enough to share it with accuracy. But please, any of you, even if you have predicted things with the tarot, that would be really, really great. Okay, and let's see what else. If there's anything else I can answer before I leave. What's scary in the world right now is that lots of countries aren't encouraging diversity. Yeah, and also it's not like, I think diversity is an interesting thing because it's not about just like trying to be different from everyone else, which honestly, I feel like I have a problem where I always want to be different from everyone and I feel safe when I'm being different from everyone else. And sometimes I feel like I seek out things that are obscure just because I feel safe in my little corner of the world by myself. So I have a problem with that. But I feel like it's not really about being different in that way, but just about accepting yourself, whether even if that means that you're like everyone else, like just accepting the fact that you like the basic things, that you like Starbucks, whatever it is, and just accepting that aspect of yourself. But then, you know, if you're an intelligent human being and as you continue learning, accepting that new knowledge. So if you love Starbucks, but then you learn about how it destroys the planet, you know, and part of your value system is caring for the planet, then accepting that part of yourself and changing aspects about yourself that don't really match who you truly are. I hope that makes sense. So it's not about like trying to be different and being quirky and weird, but really just about even accepting the, you know, being just like everyone else or just being boring. Because I think part of, you know, speaking of the Libra full moon, I think part of the thing I have a really big challenge with is really seeing the interconnectedness I have with other people because I'm an Aries ascendant. And so I really do need to learn more about that Libra, about learning about other people and how we're actually really similar and all of that kind of stuff. Because I'm always stuck in that Aries, like I'm different, you know? So it's about being able to grow as well, even if you are just like everyone else, right? And let's see, anything else? Nicole, would the Amakarka work as well if the planet is in the 12th house? Yeah, I mean, it's just going to have a different signification. Your Amakarka could be in any house, including the 12th house. And your face, hello, nice to see you. And Jennifer, I hope you get through this hard time. And just remember that the best approach is to think about it as a lesson and take responsibility for the things you can take responsibility for. You might not be able to change your feelings about the situation, but you can change the way you think and you can change your actions. My son is, Anne says, my son is my Amakarka. My closet shows this, color-coded, pretty organized. I have experienced the light of God, higher power, angels, change really like an accident I witnessed. And I think that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that. And I have a question about the sun wardrobe, because in my mind, I would think that the sun wardrobe would kind of be like maybe a person likes to wear something really similar every single day because the sun is really consistent. Like I was thinking of the guy that created Facebook. I think, who was it? There was some guy like that that would always wear the same outfit every day, but it was like not the same exact pants. It was a different pair of pants, but the same model. So he'd always wear like a white shirt and black pants every single day. So I feel like sun would be more of a uniform, but not necessarily a work uniform. And I'm wondering if you like to wear kind of the same look every single day or own a lot of the same shirts. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to relate to you guys today is, yeah, Steve Jobs did that. Yes. So thank you all for offering Jen some amazing advice. That's amazing that you guys are connecting with each other in the chat like that. I love to see that. So yeah, I wanted to kind of explain to you that there's basically, bottom line is this kind of stuff, astrology, cards of truth, tarot, doesn't need to be scary. You know, we give it way too much power, I think. Like, I really feel bad saying these kinds of things like, oh, you don't need cards, you don't need astrology, because I feel like that's bad for my business in a lot of ways, saying like, you don't need these things. But honestly, at the end of the day, when all these things I've learned is like, you don't need all these things. But for me, I know that they're such a great tool to getting me to a point where I know myself and that I understand my life. And I feel like they're such an important tool on that path to really knowing yourself. So we're on that path right now. But I hope that you guys understand that, like, you know, you don't need these things to live a full life or anything like that at all. And there's nothing to be scared of, that there's more to life than trying to have everything work out perfectly for you. It's like, life is about the good things and the bad things. Relationships aren't always going to be perfect. Your job isn't always going to be perfect. Most people aren't just going to find their dream job and then keep working their dream job every single day of their life until they're a millionaire, and then give their children their money and then their children are successful. It doesn't always work like that. Life is crazy, and there's lots of ups and downs. And rather than trying to think that we can change everything and control everything and all of that, it's better to just learn about who we are and live within our nature. And we can talk more about what it means to live in our nature, and I'll try to do that on my channel, but we're for sure going to be doing that a lot in my Cards of Truth study group, where we're going to go way more in depth. And I will be using my students' birth charts to study. So you'll actually be able to learn about your entire card spread live with the class, every single class, throughout 22 weeks. So you will learn a lot about your own self, and you'll go way deeper about where you fit into all of nature. So if you want to join that, we start April 22nd, and you need to submit your tuition by April 15th. And you can sign up at nicolebrenny.com/classes, or you can submit your tuition right now to my PayPal link, which is below. And then you can save your spot. I just sold out all of the spots, so I added a few more because I think I'm going to teach 2 classes, one in the morning and one at night, because I really thought about this, and I might not never teach this class again, not because I don't love it, but because I know myself, I know my nature, and I know that I quickly move on to different things. And I think I will be quickly moving on to different things regarding the cards. That's not for sure, but if I know myself, I think that I might not ever really teach a live class again this way. So sign up if you are even slightly interested, because it's going to be amazing. And yeah, I can talk more about this subject too. It's really, really important to me that I teach what I call spiritual hygiene, because I found myself really depressed and sad a lot based off of things that I thought the astrological chart was telling me, or things that I thought a reading was telling me, or things that astrologers told me. You know, I found myself crying for days, and you don't need to, you know, there's no reason to have astrology make you feel bad. So that's why I do videos like this. It's very important to me because I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm going to read your final comments, and then I'm going to go for the day. I heard that Steve Jobs used to be a real clothes horse, but changed to being the same. That is really interesting. Okay, And you guys, I really hope you have a nice full moon tomorrow. Maybe we'll do something special for that live. I didn't want to do like any kind of a like predictive thing about the full moon because my thoughts on the moon phases are changing and I'm still working on what I think about them. So that's up and coming research that might just fall flat, but I will let you know. And I hope that you guys have a really, really wonderful day. Put your crystals out tonight to soak up the full moon energy. And I will see you all. Yeah, I think it's the full moon. I've been traveling. So I heard someone say the new moon and then I was like, what? I thought it was the full moon. So I got all messed up. So I think it's the full moon. I've been traveling, so I'm out of the loop, but I will see you guys in the next episode tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Bye.